Hi everyone, and welcome to my guide for the Tempest Rush Monk in solo speed farming and T16. I already covered the pushing variation during season 20 a bit, especially with the Shen monks and so on with the season theme, but also without, so go check that out if you like to see it. It's the best build on Monk, and also this is one of the best farming builds on Monk. There's only Wave of Light that can be used, especially in T16, that is generally considered the best T16 build in the game, but maybe that will change with the God TH. And just in general, it's also just the best setup you can do on a Monk, and one of the top solo farming builds in the game. So up to like 110 or so, it should be quite easy once you've optimized this. I've been running rather low in setup, like 103s and so on, absolutely no issue. And once you have all the necessary pieces together, you're gonna blast with this. So let's go over the setup here. We have 3 different variations. One is for the 100s plus, one for the 90s, and then there's a T16 version. But I was gonna start with the basic stuff first. We have the Patterns of Justice set. This is the new set for Monk from season 19, and it gives you a big damage bonus to Tempest Rush, which can also be achieved with Senboku, but especially for farming, Patterns of Justice is a much more convenient build. It gives you more movement speed as well, and so on. It's definitely really good, and it's only for pushing that people run Senboku because it has a slightly higher damage potential. But for any farm content, I would definitely suggest this set. You get a lot of spirit regeneration from the 4-piece bonus as long as you're Tempest rushing, and this will also give you a damage reduction, and then you get this big damage boost while Sweeping Wind is active. So this means we have to include Sweeping Wind, and you get all runes anyway, so it doesn't matter. So you just take it, and otherwise you go Tempest Rush. The best rune to take here is Flurry, because you stack up a buff. You can see it on your buff bar. You get 20 stacks every 4 seconds, so every convention cycle, and every 20 seconds, or when you have a convention, it stacks up to 100, and then you can go to big boom. But for solo speed farming, this is not really required to time it so well with convention and so on. This is kind of like a supporting choice here. You don't need it. You can also go Son of Jordan or something like that if you like, or Unity, for example, also totally fine. But with Flurry, you have the option to channel around and just one-shot elites. Even the Rift Guardian can be one-shot or two-shot of this. And you essentially stack up the damage while you're just preparing a pull, or while you're just running and killing some trash. So this is pretty good. For a little bit lower variation, when you run, for example, 90s, you can also go with Electric Field, which has a bigger AoE, but you don't have this burst potential. So here, this is really nice when you really just kill stuff, including elites, really fast, just by Tempest rushing through them. So it's kind of up to you which setup you choose, or maybe you just like to go like 2 minutes 90s instead of those 3 or 4 minutes 100s or so. So obviously the Flurry setup is a little bit slower because of the stacking mechanic, and this is definitely intended to go a little bit higher with this. Other than that, we have Captain Crimson with Ring of Grandeur. So Captain Crimson gives you just a nice boost, cooldown, resource, some damage reduction. It's always good to have here. We have Nemesis Bracers for the extra elites, and Squirt's Necklace with the Molten Wildebeest. So you get a big damage boost here. It's quite easy to keep this up because you continuously Cyclone Strike stuff towards you, and you also freeze it. If you take the rune, you will activate the rune Cyclone Strike automatically all the time when you're running around because of Wonkim Lao. So Wonkim Lao is one of the key damage items here. 600% increased damage plus the Cyclone Strike effect that just procs permanently. So you can run in circles and you will like cyclone stuff to you, and it will be frozen, activating the damage buff from the bracers, the Caesar's Memento, which is another key item here. So it's another 800% boost when you hit something with freeze or blind or stun, and this comes from the Cyclone Strike in this case here. The last important item is the Balance. This is another big boost, 600%, plus you get 100% crit chance when you hit 3 targets or fewer, so especially on Rift Guardians or on certain elites or so. It makes it really fast and really easy to kill them, and this is definitely really good to have here. The rest of the setup is mostly supporting stuff. So we have Obsidian Ring, for example, giving you a permanent epiphany, giving you Serenity procs, so it's quite easy to keep all your defensive buffs up. You have to keep in mind that you always want to be immune to crowd control, because if you run into a Mock Backpack or a Nightmarish pack or anything like this, if you get interrupted doing your channeling, when you run Flurry, you will lose your Flurry stacks. So on electric field this is okay, it doesn't really matter because you don't stack this up, but on flurry specifically it can cut into your DPS and your clear times. So this is why you want to have this setup where you have permanent epiphany essentially. And other than that, we have Echoing Fury. This is not really required, it's just like another item. You can go Azure Wrath if you like. It has a lot of freeze chance, some cold damage. You can go with Sunkeeper, or even the Vengeful Wind, which gives you more severe wind stacks, which in turn translates into more movement speed. So this is up to you. Echoing Fury is probably the best choice overall because you get these kills, and the damage from the Tempest Rush, Flurry, Explosion scales with your attack speed. So the more attack speed you have, if you have 5 stacks of Echoing Fury, it gives you a nice boost and you can more easily one-shot the elites. Other than that, for the skills, we have Epiphany with Desert Shrouds, giving you a nice damage reduction. We have Serenity. You can go with Dash if you like, especially in the lower setup for 90s. You can go with this to just like dash around. You don't need so much defense. And we have the Cyclone Strike, the Tempest Rush, Sweeping Wind, and then Mantra. It's also up to you. So instead of the Molten Wildebeest, for example, you can also go with Mantra of Healing. You can press it manually to give you a shield, or you do both, for example. So this will be quite easy to keep up Squirt's Necklace, which is a buff you don't really want to drop very much. So it's 100% extra damage. This is very strong, and you definitely want to keep this up. So it's kind of up to you. You know, maybe on lower end, you don't really need Annihilation, and you just go with the Mantra of Healing. And then, you know, once your character becomes a bit more tanky, you can solve it for more damage like this. And the passives, we have Relentless Assault, 20% multiplicative damage bonus when enemies are blind, frozen, or stunned. Really good. We have Beacon of Ether. It's always nice to have, especially on a cooldown heavy setup here. We have Near Death Experience for the proc and Seize the Initiative. So this is the basic setup here, and as I said, you can swap some stuff around. You don't really need Captain Crimson, for example, and so on, but it's probably the best choice. And then, as I said, the ring, it can be replaced with Stone of Jordan. Especially in Season 21, the new Stone of Jordan is relatively useful because one Kim Lao always rolls lightning damage, and you can't roll it off. So with the new Stone of Jordan, equalizing all your elemental damage types, it makes it so that you can stack lightning damage on your gear instead of cold damage, for example, and you get a little bit of a boost here from the one Kim Lao as a result. So you have the Amulet, the Braces, the Stone of Jordan, and this for a total of up to 85% lightning damage instead of like a typical 40% cold. So that's pretty good, and you don't have to deal with the conventional elements. Yeah, and for the stat rolls, it's maybe a little bit of area damage here and there, but generally lots of cooldown, and you can also go with a little bit of resource cost reduction for the defense, and this is about it. So, you know, stack the crit values, the cold damage, or the lightning if you go with Stone of Jordan, or if you go with electric field here, and this is about it, yeah. And now the T16 version, it's very similar to the Speed GR version. You just swap a few things around, namely the Air Rise Band. So instead of this one damage ring, you have Move to Hoarder and you have Air Rise Band. In T16, this is always really good to have. And you can go with Ingeum if you like. So you can go Ingeum plus Dash, which is a very good combo. You just move around through the map. As soon as you have the buff, you can press Dash like twice a second or so. It resets extremely fast. And like this, you can cover big distances in a matter of seconds. So this is really nice to have. And otherwise, you can just, you know, stack mobility and rush with this, and like literally Tempest Rush, and everything will die around you because the damage is so high. You shouldn't really have any trouble whatsoever. Once you have the setup complete, even without Captain Crimson and something like Echoing Fury, just like the key items and the set, and you're already good to go. So this is the full setup here, and definitely the best thing you can do on a Monk, besides Wave of Light for T16, I'd say. But, you know, if you just want to play it as one build for everything, then, you know, you have to do very little changes to swap between the GRs and T16. This is definitely really nice. And then, like, another few changes, and you're already ready for the solo push. And then, you know, this is like a really nice all-round setup that is also very strong. So, I hope you liked this little guide here, and I'll see you guys next time.